Heyo, what's going on everyone? Nathan here. So last summer I decided to build my first complete desk setup, and with that I put a lot of research into affordable products that I could get. So I'm currently a senior in college, so I don't have like adult money yet. So finding quality items that also wouldn't break the bank was a must for me. And one of the first products I looked for was a new keyboard. So the type of keyboard I wanted had to have four main things. One, it had to be about 75 to 80% of like a complete keyboard. Two is that it had to be completely wireless or the option to be wireless. Three, I wanted RGB lights just in case I wanted that for my setup. And four, it had to have mechanical switches. And so after about 2 weeks of in-depth research, this right here is the Keychron K2 mechanical wireless keyboard. And for under $100, this is probably the most complete keyboard you can get on Amazon today. So the Keychron K2 is a compact 75% Bluetooth mechanical keyboard. It has dual compatibility for both Windows and Mac OS, and also has a bunch of different RGB light effects. So the unboxing experience for this keyboard is actually quite pleasant. The box comes with this nice like reflective outline of the keyboard itself. Inside the box you will find the keyboard itself, different keycaps for both Windows and Mac OS users, a right-angled USB-C cable for both charging and ease of use if you want to use this wired, and a keycap puller for ease of use when interchanging out the keycaps. So this keyboard has a length of 12.32 inches, a width of 4.48 inches, and a depth of 1.52 inches. This keyboard is on the thicker side of most keyboards, and I have personally noticed a little bit of fatigue after long typing experiences with it. So I do recommend getting a wrist rest for it. I do not currently have one as I just haven't like coughed up the money for it. But Keychron does offer their own wooden wrist rest, and it goes for about $32. So if you're in the market for one, that will line up perfectly with the dimensions of this keyboard. So this keyboard comes in an array of gray keycaps, and I think it does look pretty clean. But you also get two additional orange keycaps, one for the escape button and one for the light button. So if you want a little bit of pop of orange, then you can switch those out, and I do keep the orange escape key on mine as I just like that little hint of color in it. So the only switches and ports found on this keyboard are found on the left side of it, and this includes a USB-C port. Then there's a switch to change between Windows and Mac OS software. And then below that is a switch to change the mode from either Bluetooth, wired, or right in the middle, you could turn off the keyboard using this. This keyboard has Bluetooth 5.1, and one great function I like about this is being able to connect up to 3 devices at the same time, and then using the function key and then either 1, 2, or 3, you can switch between devices very easily. So I'm able to switch between my laptop and my iPad with just that quick set of buttons, and it really just adds to like my workflow, and it mainstreams my productivity. On the bottom of this keyboard, you will find rubber feet at each corner of it, as well as 2 kickstands. So these kickstands each have 2 separate heights of it, a little smaller one on the inside and then a larger one on the outside. So you get a total of 3 different typing angles with this keyboard, and you can test them out to see which one you like the best. Whichever one works best for you, you got options with this keyboard. This keyboard has an entirely plastic build to it, and it feels like pretty dense plastic, to be all honest, if you listen closely. Like, it doesn't sound hollow at all, and it has a good amount of weight to it, which mostly comes from the 4,000 milliamp battery inside of it. So putting a 4,000 milliamp hour battery into a keyboard is pretty impressive in itself, and Keychron claims that you can get up to 4 weeks of use on a single charge without using the backlights. And so for me personally, I always have the backlights on, and I get about a solid 3 to 4 weeks without charging it. Granted, I do always remember to turn it off, but if you ever forget to turn this off, there is a sleep mode option. So if you leave this idle for 10 minutes, it will go into sleep mode by itself to help you conserve battery. But if you don't want this feature, you can easily turn it off by pressing the function S and O key together for 4 seconds, and it'll turn it off. So like I said earlier, this is a 75% keyboard, which means that it has 84 keys, including an entire function key row at the top. To switch between function keys and media keys at the top, you're going to press and hold the function button, X and L at the same time for 4 seconds, and then it'll switch between the two as you please. I went with the 75% because I didn't need the number pad on the side, and the 60% either gave you no arrow keys at all and you'd have to use like the shift button for that, or they were like half-size arrow keys, and I really just wanted full-size ones, so I'm very happy with just how compact this keyboard is, and it still gives me all the functionality that I wanted out of it. So this keyboard has Gateron G keys, and it comes in 3 styles, either red, blue, or brown. So I went with brown because I wanted something tactile but not too clicky and loud and annoying, and so I felt like brown was just the perfect middle ground for me. I feel like these brown switches have been very satisfying to use. They're tactile and I like the amount of travel they have to them. But one thing I have noticed is that not all the keys are consistent with their sound. For example, the backspace button sounds very different from like the shift and the space bar. So that might be like a quality thing, and hopefully in future iterations of this keyboard, Keychron can fix that. But overall, the typing experience has been very great for me. And just so you can hear for yourself, here's an example of me typing on this keyboard with the brown switches. So because these keys are made out of plastic and they have like this matte coating to them, your fingerprints will show if you use them with like slightly dirty fingers, but you can easily wipe it off and clean it. And another thing is that it will show wear on it, as my spacebar already has some distressing to it just from pressing it so much. I really like the font on the keys as well, as they're small, clean, and simple, but they're also big enough to let some light through when the backlight is on. So since we're on the topic of lights, the backlight of this keyboard is plenty bright. Granted, it's not the brightest out of all the keyboards I've seen, but it is plenty good for what it is. But I only ever use this keyboard with the lights on. Even during the day, it just helps the keys stand out a little bit, and I will generally switch between either just plain white keys during the day or some some RGB effects at nighttime, just to kind of make my keyboard look a little cooler while I'm using it. So to turn the backlight on and off, you're going to press the function key and then the light key at the top right corner, and this will either turn it on or off whenever you want. So this keyboard's RGB effects are actually really good. You get 20 plus different RGB effects, and all you need to do is just press the light key at the top right corner, and you're able just to shuffle through them, whichever one you like the most. Honestly, some of them are a little much for me, as it kind of just makes the keys like difficult to see, especially at night. Some of them like scatter or swirl around, and it makes it like kind of confusing to type. So I usually leave it on like a solid RGB fade or just the solid white light. So when you do find an RGB style that you like, you don't have to have it on that rainbow fading effect. You can actually switch it to a solid color, and to do that you press the function key and then you can go through with the arrow keys which color you like. There's about 8 different colors, from red, green, purple, blue, cyan, but I usually just leave it on the rainbow color if I do have a choice for that. So this version of the Keychron K2 is coming in at $76, and for that price, this is probably the most complete keyboard that you can get on Amazon right now. Between the solid build quality, the RGB lights, the tactile buttons, and the great battery life, you really can't go wrong with this, and I truly believe that it's worth every penny that I paid for it. So that is pretty much everything that I have to say on the Keychron K2 wireless mechanical keyboard. Again, this is like my first keyboard and I've been very pleased with it, and I know that you will be as well. So with that being said, if you like this video or if you learned something new, then please hit the like button down below, and don't forget to subscribe, as I don't want to miss anything else I have in the future. And with that being said, have a great day everyone, and cheers.